to have to start without them. All right, so we're missing Dolapo, we're missing Ruth, and who? Who else? I think that's about all. So we have Angela here, we have Jumoke. I think we're missing Dolapo and Ruth. All right, guys, let's just start. I think they'll join us. Hello once again, good afternoon. Super excited to have you guys here. This is it's about the, let me use the word 18th sprint I'm taking, but then the first time I'm taking GRC, and I have some experience in GRC, and I would tell you that it's a very interesting part of cybersecurity. So I want you to keep an open mind, just because there are some rumors that say GRC is a boring part, GRC is for people that are talkative, might not be able to use my audio very noisy. I understand you, Jumoke. If you can hear me, tell me you can hear me in the chat. Can you hear me, Jumoke? All right, I think we'll wait up for her. Angela, hi. Can you hear me, Angela? All right, awesome.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. So I don't want to have to take much of your time because I know today is you're supposed to be resting. I'll start with a formal note of apology. Yesterday we were supposed to have the class, but I went for a cybersecurity conference on the island, that's in Nigeria, and it was really hectic coming back. So apologies once again, and thank you for joining the class today. So we're waiting on 2 other people, but then let's just kick off. So they may have to watch the recording. How do I stop? Okay, yeah, awesome, thank you. Nope, I think I'll just start with this. I need you to leave, please. Thank you. And you. Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, please, let me know if you can see my screen. Angela, can you see my screen? Jumi, can you see my screen?
I can see your screen.
All right, awesome. Once again, I want to welcome you guys to the first aspect of GRC. Again, I want you to keep an open mind because I would try as much as possible to be very explanatory without boring you, and then to open your mind to see the fun and the greatness that being a GRC analyst or IT compliance officer can do for you. Regardless of your previous job career role, I think Jumoke said she's a compliance officer, maybe in a law firm or something. Angela, I'm not sure where. Regardless of wherever you're from or whatever prior knowledge you have, GRC is mainly for people that have the, let me say, have the source in quotes. Apologies, I may be using some Gen Z slang so that we can relate very well. Maybe have the reason to speak with top dogs, stakeholders, all these things, so that they can properly communicate the current security posture of the organization. So welcome once again to Understanding the Basics of Cybersecurity Governance, Risk and Compliance. My name is Joey. You can address me as Joey as well. So here we'll be talking about introduction to cybersecurity GRC. We're talking about what is GRC, its importance, we're talking about the benefits, using the framework and how to develop a framework and the importance of using GRC tools for businesses. I want you to note that everything we're talking about here are real, are things that happen real, and things that you can implement or you can translate into reality. All right, I guess the other people will join us. So first things first, let's break it down without jumping in. My goal here is not to have a class or to run through the curriculum. My goal here is to take you so that you can properly understand this aspect of cybersecurity. I'd also say that if you have questions, it's okay to cut me short. I don't mind. To say, hi, I do understand that aspect, or would you please shed more light, or ask on the chat box, whatever. Right, so let's break it down. GRC. G is governance, risk management is for R, and compliance is for the C. And I'm not going to be using much of all of this talk thing. I want to bring it down so that you can understand. You would have the slides obviously after. So governance, risk, and compliance. What comes to your mind when you hear governance, risk, compliance in cybersecurity? So governance is just like an overruling um, written statement that helps organization, work in line with that statement. In simpler words, an example of governance is, I know every country has its rules and regulations, right? Kenya have theirs, Nigeria has theirs. If you're in the UK, there are a lot of rules and regulations. So these rules and regulations are typical example of what governance is all about. So again, governance is just talking about how organizations can be controlled or directed. Employees must not do this. Employees must do this. All right. Employees must dress corporate Monday to Thursdays. You must wear a tie. Ladies must wear a suit pant, whatever. That's part of their governing rules. Employees must not go leave the office space without turning off their computer. All of these things, they are called governance. But then I'll break it down some terms so that you can understand. Again, like I said in the general class, cybersecurity is all about knowing your onions, knowing your stuff. And there are terminologies that you would be using. For example, if I say something like policies, procedures, standards, regulations, these are terms that are relating to the GRC, framework. Give me a sec, please. All right. Yeah, so GRC stands for Governance, Risk, and Compliance, and it is a very comprehensive framework that helps organizations manage their operations, their business functionality, risks, and compliance requirements. This is just a very, very basic explanation to what GRC is about. All right, then I also stated that here GRC is a very critical framework that helps businesses make better decisions. You can improve your performance if you have very good GRC framework implemented in your organization, and then you would shield your company from taking unnecessary risk, and then help you to increase or to solidify your cybersecurity posture. So on this picture here, I showed you how the difference between governance, risk, and compliance. Now, governance again is how organizations can be controlled. Then risk is any event that can cause a harm to your organization or to a particular network or objective, right? So again, an example of governance can be rules, can be laws. The law of the land says you should not kill, or else you'll be jailed or be sentenced to life imprisonment or whatever. That's a law. That's part of governance. Risk, an example of risk. Angela just got a system, but the system's operating system, the laptop operating system is outdated. But she can still use it though. I mean, it's still working, it's not broken, but it's been flagging her, hey, update your system, update your operating system, update your operating system. If Angela doesn't update her operating system, she's cool. It's a risk in the sense that that particular thing can cause further harm to her. She could either lose files, she could be breached, in terms of hacked. She could be become a victim of online cyber attack, in terms of using malware, etc. So that's a risk. Another example of a real life scenario of risk is you want to drive 1 kilometer out and the fuel in your car is not so much. You can buy fuel just at the junction of your bus stop, but you're choosing to risk it. So that's the word I use there, right? Risk it. I mean, you can go. It's possible that it happens, that nothing happens, rather. It's possible that you go, nothing happens. But then if you go and something happens, you get further harm. You can break your engine can break down, you can be waylaid, you can be told, you can be, I don't know, so embarrassed. Then compliance in this case ensures that you follow the guidelines of regulations. You follow regulations, you follow guidelines and best practices, and then you are sorry, and then you are accountable to all of these things. An example is um, if you lodge a complaint to the police officers, and for example, maybe you have a case of burglar, I don't know, okay, don't let me use burglar. Maybe you have a case of auto theft, and they ask you, did you register your car with this? Is your number plate registered? And you say, oh, I'm sorry, the number plate is not registered. When did you buy the car? So you can say, oh, your number plate is not registered, and that means you're not compliant with the law. So again, I'm just trying to give you scenarios on this. So again, GRC is just a comprehensive framework that organizations use to manage risks, operations, and compliance requirements. And every organization, regardless of your principle of operation, if you're an IT company, if you're a financial tech, if you are if you're in the banking industry, whatever, as long as you have a digital footprint means as long as you are online, you have a website, you have your LinkedIn, you have your data, your customer data active online, etc. You must implement GRC. And that's why I'm really excited that you guys are here. So key components of GRC. So again, I further divided this into three. So again, I said governance is making sure that your organization is managed in a fair and transparent way, so that you can be accountable. And then risks talked about how you instead of accepting that you can do things in one way or the other, you can just do it the right way. So you can help your organization to identify what weaknesses are there. You can assess those weaknesses. Okay, is this something that we need to treat now? For example, I gave the example of Angela getting a new laptop and updating her operating system. She can decide to assess it. Okay, is this a risk that I must carry out right now? Do I have to update my operating system now, or I can do it later? Of course, you can do it later. Fine, if you do that. But then if Angela is a GRC analyst and she does that same thing to updating a firewall, imagine updating a firewall of an organization network to updating your own personal laptop operating system. Which one do you think comes first? Angela, would you help me here? Hello, are you here? Angela, are you here? Anybody? Anybody can help me. Sama is here. Ooh, anybody? Guys, I need to know if you're here. I need to be sure that you can hear me, you know. All right, I cannot see any response. Angela, I need to take a roll call. If you are currently here and you can hear me, say hello, I can hear you. Angela, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, Jumoke, I guess you're here still, right? Sama, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
Yes, Ma, thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right, Jumoke says she can hear in a noisy place. So again, I was trying to give you a proper definition of risk. To say risk can be identified, can be assessed to know if it's something that is important so much that it can cripple your business operation, or it's something that can be done later. Then in that same process, you can also mitigate it. Mitigate means you can just either you resolve it immediately, or you stop whatever threat it poses. So these are the components of GRC. Compliance also talked about how you can adhere to, like I said before, regulations or laws. If you go to the police station and you report a fire outbreak, they'll ask you, did you put in place um, maybe a fire extinguisher or fire anti-fire, things that can help you against fire outbreaks. And if you say no, then they'll say you're not compliant. So compliance is that word. So saying you have to adhere to laws, regulations, and industry standards. And so GRC helps every organization to be compliant with regulations. And then we are the people that help every organization or organizations in general to reduce risk and to stand against getting penalized. Typical example, in I think 2022 or 2021, I think that was in the UK. I think that was Heathrow Airport. I can't remember correctly, but this is old time news. This airport was supposed to do, let me just put it in a simpler way. They were supposed to do an upgrade on their network. They didn't. And then in some kind of a way, for some minutes, hackers hijacked their airplanes. Now, when auditing companies, that cybersecurity auditing companies came, because we'll talk about that later in the day, they asked, were you compliant with XYZ regulation? Did you get compliant with this? You can't lie because they would know. And they said no. For you not being compliant, the auditors penalize them thousands of pounds. So that's just saying we as GRS analysts help organizations be compliant and help them to be able to assess and mitigate risk and help them to be more adherent to framework to regulations. So here I try to do this diagram to explain GRC. Again, I want us to have a proper understanding. Like I said at the introduction, if you do not understand something, okay to raise your hands or to cut me short until you do not understand. Now, in the middle pane, you have governance, risk, and compliance processes. Now, on the left-hand side, for the first governance area, here, I don't know if you can see my mouse. Yes, you can. So here we talk about how governance processes can help organizations have good governance practices, have better audit results, because at the end of every year, every organization that has digital footprints must be audited to say, were these laws and regulations followed? Yes. If no, you have to do something better so that you be better protected. All of these things are just so that you can have a better shield against cyber attacks. So while we have the hacker guys, you have the SOC analyst guys, those other people from the blue team and red team, they report to us. And we now break things down for stakeholders. Imagine I invested $10 million in a company and a hacker from the red team is coming to tell me I used Bob suit, I used this and that. I will not understand. I would only like to understand what the GRC analyst says. So that's why I'm saying we are very much more important. So again, governance processes help you to get better audit results. The risk management processes help you to have better internal and external risk audits. Know what assess threats, know how these threats are came about, and then know what vulnerabilities are currently in your system. I like to say these things. The weakest link in cybersecurity, please don't forget this, is the human factor. That is, we can have computers, we can have very good computers, but then cybersecurity, no organization can have 100% secured systems, right? There will always be at least one vulnerability, one flaw, one threat, and that makes you susceptible to attacks. The only thing that helps you is how to position yourself so that you can be better prepared against these attacks or block the attacks from coming. So here in risk management process talks about how you can you can assess threats, you can know what vulnerabilities are in your systems, and audit internal and external audit so that you can know what risks are there. Now, in the compliance aspect, we talked about laws, regulations, statutes. These are things, laws govern countries, right? And they govern cities and states, right? You hear stuff like the law of the land. Now, regulations are used by organizations. You must, by institutes, organizations, you must have regulations as an institution. Why? So that things can be done decently and in order. And then standards. Standards are, we'll get into these terms in a bit, but I just want you to understand things. Standard are things that you must abide by. There are things that you stand for. There are things that you are known for, you know, so that you would be, I don't know, so that you have a very good posture. I'd like to use like that. Then we talk about other results, talk about industry practices. So all of these areas just help you to have better business operations, have achievable goals and objectives. You make sure that your policies are up to date, your procedures are up to date, and your staffing follows the right approaches to make sure that your organization is compliant. So again, if you don't understand, please let me know so that I can go back. Now, why is GRC important? Beg your pardon. All right, why is GRC important? I did this because I wanted everyone to understand why GRC is important. Like I said, the technical guys report to us. We may not be so much technical, but we have to understand the technicalities. Hackers report to us, the SOC analysts report to us, and other cybersecurity analysts and all of that stuff report to us. So we bring these things to the stakeholders. Now, GRC is important because to customers, we help customers see that our organization is less susceptible to attacks. How? By showing them that we are compliant. So if I know that Angela's company is compliant with the laws of Kenya or with cybersecurity industry standards and regulations, I, as a customer, I am more confident in working with her organization. If I see that Jumoke's company is compliant with industry standards and regulation, for example, an industry standard and regulation is the PCI DSS, that's the Payment Card Industry Data Standard Security, I think. So PCI DSS is just a framework under GRC that says for every organization that deals with card transactions, if you are like PayPal, like MasterCard, like Flutterwave, like, all of these countries, PiggyVest, these are companies that deal with card transactions. You must be compliant to PCI DSS. We'll get into that later in later classes. Now, as an investor, because I can invest a large amount of money, I am more confident in the organization because I can see that they have taken steps against the risks that are facing the organization, and they are trading in a less exposed environment. Let me put it like that. Now, as employees, GRC is important because without proper compliance management, proper compliance management, attracting and retaining qualified staff responsible for smooth organizational functioning, we can see that if you don't get compliant, if you're not following the right compliance, right, as employees, then you find it extremely difficult to have smooth operation. Simply put, GRC is important to employees because it helps them run business operations smoothly because they are following a particular standard, they are following a particular regulation, they are compliant with a particular framework, and then to regulators to help organizations be transparent and mitigate risks. So these are reasons why, and more, GRC is important. I will talk about that in the next slide. Again, GRC is important because governance risk and compliance is important because it helps you enhance risk management in assessing risk, in identifying risk rather than assessing, then you prioritize. So it goes in hierarchy order. So first you identify a risk, then okay, so this risk is identified. Let me now assess it based on how severe is the risk. Is it something I must do immediately? Is it something I must resolve right now? Is it something I can do later on and it will not affect my business operation? So GRC is important because it helps us to have a proper risk management. You manage the risk. It's important because it helps us to be better compliant. You must be compliant with frameworks, industry standards, and regulations. It's also important because it helps to have good governance. Without GRC or without the GRC analyst in an organization, a standard organization actually, you can see that one board member can just do something terrible and then you'll not be able to talk because, I mean, there's no proper governance in that organization. Because I'm a board member, or because I'm an investor, I've invested thousands of dollars, I can decide to just walk in any office in the organization and take any chair and sit down, open any computer, whatever. That's wrong. So GRC helps us have good governance. Another reason why GRC is important is because it helps improve transparency. So one thing I like about GRC is there's always records. GRC deals with, see, in GRC, we deal with records, we deal with policies. Policies are, let's just say, there are rules that the organization must follow in that sense, right? So, for example, for example, a clear desk policy. That's an example of a policy in a standard organization. In my organization, I implemented some of these policies. That's to say, a clear desk policy says that no employee must stand up from their desk without shutting down their computer screen. Even if it's lunchtime, you don't have to stand. You must not stand up while your screen is on. Why? Because anybody can just go to your screen and look up one information and do that. Clearness policy can also talk about you must not paste. Some people that may be so forgetful, they like to write passwords and then paste passwords on their computer or by the side of their desk or under their seats or something. It's wrong. Anybody can check and you can see the password to your desktop and then log in. If the secretary does that and she pastes passwords of her computer, the one she uses at work, I can just go there and pick up the password and say, okay, wow, her name is Summer. Then she uses Summer 2024 and then boom, I'm in. I can take any information and implicate her. So these are policies. That's an example. So again, it helps us to be transparent. It helps us to be visible. That's an importance of GRC. Another importance is it helps communication and collaboration. Now, did you remember I said the techie guys in cybersecurity report to us? Hackers, the ethical hackers, the red teamers, and the SOC analysts, the blue teamers, all of these other people report to us so that we can communicate this to stakeholders. The only thing stakeholders want to hear is my company safe? Is our customer database intact? They don't want to know, oh, we use this hacking tool, oh, we did this hacking thing, oh, we know how to use this security incident and event management tool. But all these things are story to them. Just give us a directing and bring it down to our level. So again, GRC improves collaboration and communication. Now, another reason is it helps businesses to be better aligned with their objectives. Now, at the end of the year, you want to ensure that all your staff are compliant with the rules and regulations of the company. You want to ensure that your company itself is compliant with the global cybersecurity industry and practices. GRC helps you to do that. How? Like I said before, GRC is all about auditing, all right? All about record keeping, all about knowing how to present whatever findings those red teamer and blue teamer guys find to the stakeholders. Like I said before, we are the top dogs. I'm excited that you guys are ladies, and I particularly like ladies in tech because you're breaking the stereotype. I mean, 7 years ago, you used to have tech dominated by men. But now that dominating chance is slimmer because you guys are coming up. And let me now bust your bubbles. GRC analysts many times are women, and these women are earning crazy amounts. Permit me to use that word, crazy. But before you can get there, you have to really, really know your source. Let's go. Let's continue. Now, the benefits of GRC, again, talks about having to improve decision making. GRC helps you provide a better approach to making decisions to ensure that all your decisions are aligned with the organization's goals and objectives. Then another benefit is GRC makes sure that the organizations can identify and assess, prioritize, risks in your systems or networks, all these things, and all of this reduce the likelihood of attacks. of data breaches, of having to cripple your business operation. Do you understand? They minimize losses in terms of financial losses, because when they breach your data, like when they breach your company, when you are hacked, it's either you lose a large amount of money or you lose large amount of data, or your data is duplicated and they can sell it to your competitors. And before you know it, you just see that you are no more selling your services as better as before. That's to say that your competitors has gotten wind of your operations and they are using it against you. Another reason why GRC is beneficial, that's the GRC framework, is because it ensures the organization is compliant with relevant regulations and reduces the risk of non-compliance and associated penalties. I give you the example of a airport in the UK that was not compliant with cybersecurity industry frameworks. And when they were hacked, hackers hijacked a plane. And aeroplanes are controlled by the pilot, but mostly controlled in the tower in the airport. The tower in the airport gives you the lanes to cross, in the air. It helps you know if you can go higher or lower or whatever, so that you not collide with other planes, etc. So hackers hijacked the plane and they found out that that airport in the UK was not compliant, and they fined them bastard money, permit me to use that, because they were not compliant. So GRC helps you to implement those. Now, another reason why GRC is beneficial is because, like I said, it improves transparency and accountability throughout the organization and helps stakeholders have access to accurate information, timely information. Now, GRC is also beneficial because it helps you as an organization, beg your pardon, allocate resources more effectively to prioritize investment in areas that drive the greatest value. That's to say that it just helps you to know what areas need more hands-on, more work. Excuse me, please. Another part of GRC, like I said before, is auditing, right? So you audit each department. If the tech department is lacking a hacker, an ethical hacker, GRC analysts would have the knowledge at the end of the year because they are always auditing each department. Again, feel free to ask questions. Like I said, so now here's a real world example. I need to know if you guys can hear me. Please roll check again. Angela, Jumoke, someone, can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
All right, ma, thank you very much, ma. Angela, you here? Can you hear me? I think Angela is
I can
off.
hear you.
Oh, awesome. You're here. Great. I'm guessing Jumoke can also hear us. Let's see. I want to be sure we are all. Oh, yeah, you can even. Oh, awesome. Thank you. All right, so I was going to give you guys a real life scenario. Now, in my organization, I apologize, I may not be able to give you the full gist, but I want you to understand something. Now, in my organization is a risk advisory organization, right? What we do is we help other organizations get compliant with cybersecurity. We help them, we advise them against risks. We do cybersecurity services like the vulnerability assessment, etc. We'll get into that later in later classes. But we also have a financial branch. Now, that financial branch wanted to implement GRC in some previous months ago. What did we do? We decided to start by auditing the entire company. We wanted to know what departments the company has, what tools, what areas this organization would be exposed to on the internet. So you have your website, you have your customer database, etc. Right? What GRC does in a real world scenario is we take all of that data, we highlight it and say, okay, so we as an organization would like to be GRC compliant, right? We'd like to be compliant with industry standards. For example, HIPA. HIPA is let me put that here. HIPA is, I think that's health. I think that's health identifiable. I can't remember what it is right now, but I'll look that up for you guys. But basically, HIPA is just a framework that health workers use, hospitals use. So there was this one time when somebody asked, do you need cybersecurity in hospitals? In standard hospitals, yes. There's called medical frameworks that are used in cybersecurity. For example, this HIPA. All right. I'll look that up in a sec. But basically, what this does is it helps you be compliant with um, um, sensitive patient information. Yes, so HIPA is Health Insurance Portability Accountable Act. What does it do? It helps you ensure that you have privacy and security in your healthcare. You would agree with me that some medical tools use digital footprints. For example, a pacemaker. A pacemaker is, I think, this machine that's used to control the beating of the heart or maybe regulate heartbeat. For those that have heart issues, it connects to the internet to work. Now imagine I'm a hacker and I hack into somebody's pacemaker and increase the heart rate. That person would die. So if this organization is compliant, such will not happen. How? Because we are always auditing every tool in that organization, in that establishment. All right. So another real world framework is, like I said, PCI DSS. All right. So PCI DSS is the payment card industry. I think that's data security. Yeah, data standard security or data security standards. Some of the one. But again, what does it do? It's like a standard that every organization that deals with cards or payments must be compliant with, so that they ensure that the processes that they used to pay, like let's say Jumia.com or Alibaba or eBay or Amazon.com, so that information that is transmitted with credit card is done in a secure way. Now, all of this were just created so that there will be decrease in fraud in terms of hacking, in terms of normal cyber fraud, like petty theft and all of those things. So these are like some examples of real world standards that so my organization is a risk advisory firm and it has a financial aspect. So which of these would it use? Of course, not this, because this is Health Insurance Portability Act. It will use this not because we have particularly a payment platform, but because we have a third-party collaboration with a payment platform. Now, I help the organization become PCI compliant how by auditing every department in the organization, auditing every tool they use and the processes, and ensuring that it is in line with the global PCI DSS framework. This is something that is online that the global cybersecurity body has done and you must be compliant with. All right, let's go to the next one. Please, any questions? I apologize if I'm too fast. Any questions so far? Guys, okay, first off, before I even ask any questions, are you going to, sorry, do you understand everything I've been saying so far? Please, it's okay if you don't understand though. Just let me know, please. Let me know I'm talking to. Please, guys, you understand everything I've been talking about so far? Okay. From Angela. Angela says she understands. Jumoke, do you understand? Sama, do you understand?
Understand, sir.
Thank you. That's Sama, yeah? All right. All right. Thank you very much. Sama, correct me. Is it Sama? Hello? All right. She's not here. Oh, hi. Dolapo, you're here too. Welcome, Dolapo. Have you been listening, Dolapo Bankole?
Yeah, good evening. Yes, I'll be listening.
All right, ma. I hope you're not lost. Is there a place you want me to go over? Are you good?
Though I didn't start from the beginning. I don't.
That's fine. There's a recording. You can watch the recording, or if you have any questions, you can come to me on Slack or ask on the Slack channel so that I
All
can
right.
explain once and for all, and everybody can get it as well.
Okay.
All right, thank you. So I think we'll just go back to this guy, yeah. All right, so I guess you guys can see my screen. Awesome. All right, so we've been talking about GRC framework, GRC framework. Don't forget the GRC framework itself is the use of GRC, governance, risk management, compliance. That's what the GRC framework is about, right? So how do we now develop a GRC framework? Because in GRC, as a GRC analyst, you must understand how to develop one. So I'm going to touch each of these today, and we will definitely go right again because they are very broad. They're not too broad. I just want you to guys to understand. And I kind of feel like you don't understand entirely. So that's why I'm trying to like pump my brakes a little bit. So again, I will try as much as possible to be very explanatory. Now, to develop a GRC framework, what do we need the GRC? What do we need the GRC frameworks for? Now, organizations must use GRC must develop GRC framework again, like I've said, so that they can be better protected, so that they can understand how to better position themselves, so that their organization so that the organization itself would not be susceptible to cyber attacks. Now, to develop a GRC framework, that's to develop a governance, risk management, and compliance framework. What do? You define your business objectives. Like I said, when we were trying to do the GRC implementation for my organization, what did I say we do? We started by auditing each department. What does the business do, and what is the business goal? So basically, we just want to know the steps that will be taken, to help the business itself, to protect the business objectives. So if you are a payment industry, you know that you are protecting not just your interest or your profit, you're protecting your customer database. That is their personal information, their security card. Some websites will say, oh, put in your card details, right? Some will say put in your name, your address for deliveries. Some will say put in your email, some ask for your LinkedIn or whatever, right? These are information that is personal to you. So if a hacker gets wind of that information, it can use it to either monitor you, track you, or whatever, right? Which is wrong. So to develop the GRC framework, ensure that your business objective is defined. All right. Basically, so business security helps you to mitigate your risk, right? You help you to better allocate resources, helps you to be more efficient, help you to assist that organization in taking charge of whatever process that you use to perform such business. I give an example of PayPal as a payments card industry. So again, to implement the GRC framework, you have to define your business objectives. What objectives is your business trying to achieve? What are your objectives? Number two is to identify your critical assets. Now, when developing a GRC framework, you must identify your business, your identity critical assets. Critical assets in terms of data, in terms of other type of information, maybe employee information, this case, not even customer information. So these are critical assets that are critical to the organization itself. That's information about the employees, information about the customers, information about your tools, your company location, your company backup, etc. So these are your critical assets. Assets that if a hacker lays hold on, it can crumble your business. All right. For example, Dolapo has an e-commerce website like Jumia.com or Alibaba or eBay, right? And Dolapo wants to implement GRC. After defining her business objective to say, okay, I want to make profit, but I want to be able to deliver products or services to other people swiftly in an instant. She has to identify identify critical assets. Critical assets like how your data get processed. So if I, as a customer, want to purchase something, I put in my details, I put in my address, I put in my card details. So all of these things, how the data is processed, how it is validated, and if all of this information are protected, that's how you identify what are your critical assets, are they protected? Next is integrating business-driven security with business risk management. This is just big English. Basically, what he's talking about is your organization. Every organization depends on strategies, right? Um, to to resolve its customer database. Or let me put it like this: every organization depends on particular strategy to implement its objectives, right? So basically, all of your strategies must have security and risk management. That's what he talked about. So at every stage, there must be security and risk management. If it's stage of buying, if it's stage of delivery, you're not just going to send any delivery man. That delivery man must have a name in your system, must have an address, you must know him, right? You can't just send anybody because anybody can act as a delivery man. We've seen such cases where Domino's Pizza, I think that was now when I can't remember, people just pose as pizza delivery guys and then they go to this address. And this person said, okay, I actually ordered the pizza, but how did you get here so fast? And before you know it, somebody flashes a gun and say, open your door, that kind of thing. So again, your business must involve security at every process and risk management. All right. So that's what that English says. You must find out the next stage is to find out your business, your organization's risk appetite. Now, this is a very interesting one. You talk about appetite, right? And you talk about risk, right? You talked about how much risk your organization can take, how crucial the risk it can take. Appetite can be big, can be small. Sama's appetite may be different from Jumoke's appetite. My appetite may be different from Angela's appetite, right? You must understand what risk appetite your organization should be able to take. For example, Jumoke operates an e-commerce website that is blown. Jumoke has 1 billion customers. Osama has just 20 customers on our own e-commerce website. If anybody is to be more proactive in cybersecurity, who do you think it would be? Somebody give me an answer. Anybody?
Jumoke.
Thank you. Because she has way much more customers and her database is so full. She has to be everywhere at every time. Thank God Jumoke is not good because how does she want to do it? So that means Jumoke must have implemented Jumoke must have implemented GRC framework even before someone starts to think of it because of customer database. So again, your risk appetite matters. Is it in updating your operating system? Is it in updating your customer database? Is it in saying for every process there is a receipt attached to it? Receipt attached to your buying, to the delivery, to the refunding, everything, because Jumoke operates a very big database. But Sama can even approach all 20 of our customers in a day. Jumoke can't do that because she has 1 billion. That's just a typical example. So find out your risk appetite as an organization. Can your organization take risk as big as not updating your operating system? Can your organization do that? If not, they don't take such risks. So that's how you develop a GRC framework. Then the next one is to calculate inherent risk and its acceptability. Again, this is just big English. It's just story. It's just saying you must calculate the risks that are currently present. Since I said Jumoke operates a big e-commerce website, that means Jumoke must have vulnerability assessment guys in our team so that they will know if there are vulnerabilities currently in their system. It is something that it is inherent for it. Like I said, no organization is 100% secure in the world. I don't want to know where you are in US, Russia. You can have very good cybersecurity standards or very good cybersecurity posture, but there can be one risk or one flaw, one loophole. It can be that everybody is always proactive, but today the janitor is sick and he came to work late, but because he's sick, he kept sleeping and then he forgot to lock to so and so place. And then someone enters and copied all the information he needs and came outside. So again, there's always a flaw. So you must calculate your inherent risk. What are the risks associated with your business? Can you accept such? If you can't accept such, you either transfer it to, we'll talk about all this later. That's risk transference, risk mitigation, risk avoidance. You either avoid such or transfer it to the appropriate bodies. Appropriate bodies as per, you don't have the solution to such a risk. Employ people or collaborate with a third party. Basically, it's just you saying, I want to be better protected and protect my business. That's all. Then successfully implement your GRC process. Talked about all of these processes. Guys, we can go over this again as many times. I just want you guys to understand that GRC is super important and super interesting because you can have 100 hackers in your organization. You can have 1 billion SOC analyst or cybersecurity analyst. But without a GRC analyst, you are speaking gibberish to your stakeholders. They would not understand you. They don't need all those big words. Now, the importance of GRC tools in GRC, just like in hacking, in red teaming, or in blue teaming, we use tools. Some examples of hacking tools, you can say Bob Suite, you can say Qualys for vulnerability scanning. Examples of blue teaming tools, you can say using security incident and event management tool for monitoring and logging to know, okay, what happened to our website today, who log into so and so and when. Those are examples of tools. But here in GRC, we also use tools. For example, our tools help us to automate and streamline governance, risk management, and compliance processes that help us reduce manual effort. This is just trying to say we can establish patterns or establish policies or laws for organization. So let's say Jomoke's e-commerce website is joom.com. Joom.com may have a GRC tool that will say for every new employee, flag or give an alert if a new employee tries to log in to this aspect of the website because he's not allowed to. So if I am a new employee and I say, oh, this is a new aspect, it's somewhere that I've not been told to log into, but I try to log in, it flags it. So it's an automatic process. It just helps us to be more compliant, help us to manage risk without having to be manual. Then also risk management, GRC tools helps us to have improved risk management. So if you understood the first point I made, you should see that the second point talks about having to improve risk management. So risk management involves identifying, assessing, prioritizing, and mitigating, right? So these tools help us to be more efficient because the human eye can be tired sometimes. The human eye can be weary. The human eye may be playful or maybe distracted. So we may not see some of these things. But tools help us better because they are automated and they are digital, they are computerized. So also it helps us be compliant because I told you there are worldwide compliance bodies around the world that we must be compliant with. So all of these things help us to better position our businesses so that we would not be hacked, etc. We'll begin from here next class. I just want to know if we have questions. It's 5 o'clock already. Yes, we'll be doing this also. At the end of every class, I want us to rate the class. All right, so rate the class. Is it something you like? Is it something you don't like? So I want everybody to talk now. I don't care if you're in Mars or if you're in Jupiter or somewhere noisy. You must talk. So everybody, first off, do you understand everything that's been discussed? All right, let's do roll call again. Let's start with you, Sama. Sama, do you understand all the things we've said today? It's okay to, If you don't understand the particular place, don't lie.
Okay, I understand a bit, but not all the aspects.
Thank you for being honest, Sama. Do you know what
Like,
areas you don't understand?
like when you talk about GRC tools, I don't really.
All right, Sama, that's
Yeah.
true. I didn't buttress on GRC tools because we're out of time. So we'll talk about that in next class. I'll tell you some of the tools and maybe even show you one and what it does. All right? And so that we can better understand. Is that okay, Sama?
Yes, sir.
All right, Angela, is there some place you don't understand, or do you understand everything we've said so far?
So far, I understand everything that was said.
All right, Angela, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Angela, it's okay if you don't understand, and you want to come to Slack to say, oh, I forgot about this, blah, blah, blah. Jumoke, please let us hear your voice. Do you understand everything that's been said?
Hello, good evening, sir.
Yes, ma.
Yeah, I actually struggle to like keep up with the class because of where I am.
Oh,
I
wow.
think I understand. I'll just like go through the.
All right. All right. So, guys, I would share the slides and the recording will be available. If you don't understand, you can go through that or come to me on Slack. It's fine. All right.
I will do